Iggy travels in his boat 60 kilometers upstream in 5 hours. The boat travels the same distance downstream in 3 hours. What is the rate of Iggy's boat? What is the rate of the current of the stream? So to solve this, we're going to be using a chart. It's going to be based on the formula rate times time equals distance. This is a very popular formula in algebra. Let's start by filling out the chart. So actually, before we fill out the chart, we have to identify our variables. So we know Iggy travels in his boat 60 kilometers upstream. So if we use variable b to represent the boat's speed, because we're actually in the end of the problem is actually what is the rate of Iggy's boat. So we need to know the boat's speed. And if we use the variable c to represent our current, or the current in the water. Okay, so now the rate upstream. Iggy travels in his boat 60 kilometers upstream in 5 hours. So his rate, we do not know his rate, but his rate is going to be based on the fact that his boat is traveling upstream. Now remember, upstream, you're going against the current. So it's going to be his boat speed, which should make sense, his boat speed minus c, because he's going against the current, minus c. If he was going downstream, like we'll see next, it's going to be b plus c, because it's going to be the boat in still water adding the current, because the current makes you go faster if you're going downstream. It makes you go slower if you're going upstream. The time we know for the upstream trip took us 5 hours, or took Iggy 5 hours. Now the distance is going to be 5 times parentheses b minus c. Now you might be saying, well, the distance is 60 kilometers. Yes, it is 60 kilometers, but we're going to be, let me just multiply this out quick. The distance he travels upstream is 60 kilometers, but we're just looking for the distance in terms of our variables right now. In other words, his distance upstream, our distance 5 times parentheses b minus c is going to be equal to our 60 kilometers. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So his distance downstream is then going to be b plus c, or his boat plus the current. His time, we know the same distance downstream in 3 hours, so it's going to be 3 hours this time. It should make sense because going downstream with the current makes you go faster. And then his distance is going to be 3 times parentheses b plus c. Now his distance is, again, it's not 60 kilometers, but we're going to be setting these distances equal to 60 kilometers because that's the actual distance Iggy traveled. So in terms of these distances in our chart, these are just based on the boat and the current and the time, or the rate times the time. So we know the actual distance upstream was 60 kilometers, so we're going to set 5 times parentheses b minus c equals 60, and 3 times parentheses b plus c equals 60. Now, something that students might do to make life more difficult in this problem is to distribute the 5, so to get 5b minus 5c and 3b plus 3c. And that's not the best idea because you're going to be dividing them out in your next step anyway. So to solve from here, we could end up distributing the 5, but it's way easier to just divide both sides of the equation by 5 of the first, and just divide both sides of the equation by 3 for the second equation. So we get b minus c equals 60 divided by 5 is 12, and we have b plus c equals 20. Solving from here, our variables cancel out nicely, so we can solve it by addition. 2b equals 12 plus 20, or 32. So that means b equals 16. Now we know the boat speed is 16 kilometers per hour. 16, so, and then we need to find the rate of the current, so we can plug 16 back in for b in the first equation. We get 16 minus c equals 12. I'll just show the work here. 16 minus c equals 12. Subtract 16, negative c equals negative 4, divide both sides by negative 1, c equals 4. So we know the current speed is 4 kilometers per hour. So let's start with the boat. The boat is boat's speed is we already determined 16 kilometers per hour, and the current is 4 kilometers per hour. And these are your final two answers. Boat speed is 16 kilometers per hour, and the current speed is 4 kilometers per hour.